Wrong ones part ways, right ones find their way. Today's article is about: if we don't divorce, we will never be able to turn back after losing. Life has no ifs, only consequences and results. The past will never come back, and what does return is no longer perfect. Many people can't distinguish between ideals and desires. An ideal is when you feel happy thinking about it, while a desire is when thinking about it causes you pain. After moving from one stage of life to another, or after making a certain choice or decision, if the outcome is good, people usually let go of the past. Even if they think back to it, they would say they are glad they made that decision. However, if the outcome is not good, they tend to linger on the past, always wondering if things would be different if they hadn't made that decision. People who are nostalgic about the past often like to hypothesize about it, wishing they could go back and start over. This is usually driven by regret, disappointment, and guilt, revealing deep self-doubt and self-neglect. Take divorce, for example. Whether a man or woman, if they decided to get divorced and end up doing well afterward, they might even say they're glad they divorced. But if life after the divorce isn't going well, they will likely dwell on the past, wondering if things would be different if they hadn't divorced. Those who do well after a divorce either made the right choice or refuse to allow themselves to regret. But those who struggle after a divorce often find themselves feeling sorrowful. Though they may blame external factors, they gradually start blaming themselves. If you found this article interesting, please share it. Every like or share from you is our biggest motivation. Xiaomei and Amu had a lively wedding, both having cheerful and carefree personalities. On their wedding day, they didn't need anyone else to create a fuss, they were enough on their own. They believed each other was the right person and promised to stay together forever, openly sharing their plans for their future happiness at the wedding. However, after marriage, they didn't have children as planned. Xiaomei said they didn't need to rush, that there was plenty of time, and that it wasn't necessary for a child to come into the world so early. Amu, always respecting Xiaomei's wishes, agreed and followed her lead. But Xiaomei's change wasn't limited to the matter of having children. She also changed in other ways, or simply fell out of love with Amu. Their relationship, once filled with mutual affection, deteriorated. Xiaomei said she no longer found their relationship meaningful and suggested divorce. Despite Amu's plea to reconsider, Xiaomei was determined, and they divorced. Initially, Amu hoped that maybe they would reunite one day. He thought Xiaomei would eventually come back to him after some time, but things didn't go as he hoped. Not only did Xiaomei not return, but she also remarried and became pregnant. Amu found it hard to understand because Xiaomei had previously said she didn't want a child so soon. Yet, after remarrying, she had a child immediately. Amu couldn't help but wonder if she had already fallen out of love with him and was ready for divorce long ago. After the divorce, they had no contact. When Xiaomei married and had a child, their contact ended completely. It was an unspoken agreement between them, with neither reaching out to the other. 3 years later, Amu had remarried and had a child. Though they no longer kept in touch, he occasionally thought about Xiaomei and wondered how she was doing. He wasn't trying to betray his current marriage, he simply remembered Xiaomei and guessed about her life. By chance, they met again. Xiaomei recognized Amu right away, as he hadn't changed much in 3 years. But Amu didn't recognize the woman in front of him at first. Xiaomei's cheerful demeanor was now different, with many constraints and a smile tinged with resignation and sadness. Seeing her ordinary appearance and 2 ordinary children made Amu feel a sharp pain. He could clearly sense her struggles, and she no longer had the confident aura she once had. Amu didn't know what to say, only responding briefly to Xiaomei's questions. When Xiaomei asked if they would be happy now if they hadn't divorced, Amu tightened his lips, smiled and didn't respond, then turned and left. As he walked away, he started to cry. He wanted to say they would have been very happy if they hadn't divorced, but he couldn't. He felt saying so would only add to the troubles, so he simply smiled. After meeting Xiaomei, his mood was very low, and though he didn't show it to his wife. After 3 years of divorce, encountering her ex-husband again made him deeply experience the change in people and things. She initially planned to stay single for a while and reconcile, but she mistakenly ended up with another man and became pregnant. The man, now her husband, disrespects her, is domineering, and she can't resist. As a result, she has become an ordinary housewife, controlled by her husband. Xiaomei is one of those who regretted divorcing and yearns for the past. Her question about whether they would be happy if they hadn't divorced is the clearest proof of her regret, disappointment, guilt, and helplessness. Amu, while sensing this, felt it more deeply. Although he felt confident about the divorce decision at the time, the outcome proved it was the wrong choice. Now, everything is irretrievably lost. No amount of regret can change the fact that they are remarried with children. The decision to divorce meant they would never cross paths again. A wrong choice in marriage leads to bad outcomes, and impulsively choosing divorce guarantees even worse results. Neither men nor women should be as hasty as Xiaomei. Marriage itself is not the problem, the issues you perceive may be your own. You can adjust without divorce. Rushing into divorce and then remarrying impulsively may mean losing something that can never be regained. Today's sharing ends here. Feel free to leave your thoughts, and don't forget to like and share with your friends.